Hey everyone, thanks for stopping by the movie Hangout, and let's talk about Willow Season 2 happening? Maybe, kinda, sorta, no, yes, no, yes. I'm gonna jump into the ever-changing story that is coming out of Disney and Disney Plus and the producers right now, and we're gonna read just the craziness of what's going on with this, the excuses, and what I ultimately think is going to be happening with this show. Before I jump into it, be going over, hit subscribe, click notification bell, comment, and like this video. I want to hear what your opinion is on what I'm about to reveal. Okay, so we all heard the news that Willow, the Disney Plus series, was canceled. This is supposed to be it was supposed to be a good series, supposed to be a series that really dove more into the world of the movie Willow that Ron Howard directed back in the late 80s, starring Warwick Davis. I'm a big Warwick Davis fan. I think he's a good actor. I think he does a really good job. He's a great character actor and just seems like a really nice guy. He never badmouths anybody, which nowadays is pretty rare. However, the show on Disney Plus, it's unwatchable. It is really bad. I mean, I went into this thing with an open mind. I really tried to get through the first episode. I got about 15 minutes into it, and it was just like a slog fest. It was so difficult to get into it. So then I started watching like clips of scenes, and it just seemed very amateurish to me, almost student filmy in some ways, and except minus kind of that like the love of the material. It just was like people standing up and just saying words like they had to get paid. You know, I don't know. It did not work for me at all. And apparently a lot of people felt that way. Most people felt that way because it was announced a few days ago that the show is canceled. Well, now the producer of the show, he's basically saying that that isn't true. So I'm going to read what he is saying right now and whether or not I think the guy's full of crap. So I'm over here at Polygon.com. Disney Plus Willow isn't canceled, just paused for at least a year, says producer. Now, I've said this in the past. It always looks bad when something is canceled. So what a lot of these studios are doing is they're not necessarily canceling them. They're just pausing them. They're putting them on the back burner, but then they just never get to them. And it's a strategic business plan. They think that people are going to forget about it and they'll just never get to it. And so it's a roundabout way of actually canceling content. John Kasdan, who's the show producer, who should be totally ashamed of himself that he just ruined this story that was so good, says reports of the show's death are greatly exaggerated, playing onto the Mark Twain quote, "Rumors of my death are greatly exaggerated." The guy never has an original idea, this guy. Following a Deadline report that Disney Plus has canceled Willow, the TV series based on George Lucas' 1988 fantasy adventure. Lucas produced it, Ron Howard directed it. Show producer John Kasdan has tweeted a correction. Neither I nor the folks at Lucasfilm, so you can see right there, Lucasfilm, it was never going to end up very well, would or have actually characterized it quite that way. And then if you want to read this kind of corporate letter that John Kasdan posted onto his Twitter, go ahead and waste, a few minutes of your life. I'm not going to bore you with it. It's basically him just saying like, they're going to be delaying the show, right? He could have said it in 2 sentences, but it's this long, flowery diatribe that he goes on. Kasdan's thread continues for 2 more tweets as well, noting the general slowing of production across the entertainment industry. Whose fault is that exactly? But especially streaming. And that's because they're making stuff nobody wants to see. And the logistics of scheduling around your cast commitments. The reason why the cast has other commitments is because the show they're in isn't any good. And you see, I know for a fact Warwick Davis, he's a smart guy. He knows this show is not good, but he can't say anything. He can't say this show is just woke crap. It's horrible, because then he would get blackballed from the industry. The industry is run kind of like a weird cult. It's like once you're in the inner circle, whatever, you get work. You can do whatever you want to do. Look at Ezra Miller. The guy's definitely knows something on powerful people because he will never get canceled no matter what. Warwick Davis is not like that. He could be CGI'd out of every Star Wars thing in the future, They don't have to give him cameos and anything. Same with any, Harry Potter or anything really. So he's kind of at the mercy of these big production companies, and he's not going to say anything mean. He's just going to find other things to do and come up with excuses not to be able to be in the crappy stories. And who could blame him? It says, the truth is less splashy than cancellation, he writes. But here it is. A decision was made last week to release our main cast for other series opportunities that may arise for them in the coming year. The only reason why you would do that is if the show you're doing right now is not any good. Because no actor's going to walk away from a hit TV show. Nobody left Seinfeld in the middle of the height of that show's success. Nobody left Friends in the middle of that show's booming success. Every actor that leaves a show that is super popular at the height of it usually ends up, their career goes down the tube. So a lot of actors don't want to do that. It says here that with all the TV and movies in production around the world, it feels unfair to limit an actor's availability without a clear sense of when you're going to need them again. They're never going to need them again because it's not coming back. And he knows that. According to Kasdan, season 2 of Willow is, if not completely written, I highly doubt that, maybe one script is completely written, significantly planned out, and some characters with small roles in the first season, like Annabelle Davis, Mims, will have a much larger ones in the new, but since their initial contracts did include so much season 2 work, they're now busy with other projects. And then it goes on to say, basically, so is Willow canceled? No, according to executive producer. But do we know if it'll continue? That's hazier. And then, end quote, I have total confidence that if an appetite for more Willow persists, Disney, Lucasfilm, and this amazing cast will satisfy it. Well, Mr. Kasdan, the audience has spoken. And they do not want to see any more Willow. Willow is the lowest rated series on Disney+. It is rated lower than all of the high school shows, all of the everything. It is the lowest rated thing on the streaming service. People don't care. Willow fans don't care. They're not picking up any new fans because they're just kind of like, whatever, I'll watch something else. So this thing is done. It is cooked. It's not coming back. And the fact this guy can't just like man up and just say, yep, we made a mistake. We need to make some changes. We shouldn't be doing like all this dumb ideological stuff that doesn't make any sense. It doesn't serve the story. It is totally out of the realm of make-believe, even though this is a make-believe world. This should serve as a great example. You can have a fantasy world like Lord of the Rings, Harry Potter, Willow, Star Wars, Marvel. You can have a fantasy world where people have superhuman powers. They have mythological powers. You can have mythological creatures that don't exist in the real world. But the story and the behavior of the characters have to somehow resemble the real world. So you can have, vampires, you can have trolls, but they have to behave in a way that people are like, okay, I believe that if this creature existed, it would behave in that manner. The further down the woke rabbit hole people go, the further they drift away from that. And you can't suspend disbelief even when there's just people talking and no mythological creatures. And that's why this stuff doesn't work, because it can't work. It's not because people are mean and they don't want to watch it. It's because the stuff isn't any good. I used to watch stuff that, has got all different types of things I don't agree with it within it, but it was good, back like in the late 90s, early 2000s. It was good stuff, right? This is not at all. And I think normies, people who don't really follow this stuff too intently like I do, they notice that. They notice it isn't any good. Let me know what you think. Do you think Willow 2 is just paused and is going to be renewed? Or do you think that Kasdan, he just can't come to terms with the fact that he ruined this potentially great story that could have gone on for 5-6 seasons? Comment below, let me know. And as always, if you want to get future rants, reviews, original content, click subscribe. Later.